Hi everybody, my name's Addison Huddy. I'm one of the committers of the Apache Geode project. I know last week I said I was going to go over Spring Boot Data Geode. However, Milestone 2 was released this week and I went through it, and there's some really cool stuff in there that I want to highlight. So I'm going to put together a better demo of that and record a video next week for it. So I will include a link to the blog post that John wrote up, just talking about some of the enhancements around the M2 release, some cool stuff in there, and we'll go over it next week. Today we're going to look at transactions. But before we do that, I want to mention SpringOne's coming up. It's just in a little over a week. And the Monday of it is the Apache Geode Summit. So if you're watching these videos and you're going to SpringOne, definitely come check out the summit on Monday. And then there's going to be a ton of talks about Spring Data Geode throughout the week. So transactions. As you know, Apache Geode is a CP system, and it favors strong consistency. And as a community and a product, we really believe in making sure that we have a CP system and we do everything possible to up availability. And one of the things that we can do, because we have a strongly consistent data store, is ACID transactions. And today I'm going to show you how that works with a demo that you can find in the demo repo. You can see kind of here in this documentation a bit around how this works and how isolation is guaranteed and how the two-phase commit process works. So I'll link to that in the down below. All right, so what are we going to look at today? So this is the transactions directory. We have two classes down here. Before we do that, the gfish script that we're going to run, it's really simple. Locator server, nothing special here. We've done this a bunch of times. Now, we have this example class, and we're going to do something kind of interesting here. The main here is going to do what we've seen before. We have a locator, and we create a cache. We create a client region factory, a region called example region. We create an example, an instance of example that passes in the region name. But then we're going to execute 5 child processes. And these processes down here, this first method, execute child processes, kind of goes in and creates a child process up here. Now, what is this going to do? This here is going to execute the main method of the incrementer Java. So each one of these child processes is going to be trying to increment the same value based off the same key. That key is called counter. But we're going to do this in a ACID transaction way. So we're going to use something that's a class called the cache transaction manager. So we're going to get an instance, we're going to get it. Then we're going to go through, begin a transaction where we have the old value, the new value, and we're just incrementing. We put, and then we commit our transaction. And if this didn't work, it'd roll back. So we're doing nothing here if it fails. Now, if we run this, let's go over here. And I haven't tried this yet. Now I'm going to connect to gfish and see if we can kind of watch this, because it's gonna take a moment. So first thing let's build the example. All right, let's build this. Now it's built. Let's start the cluster. Now, the thing I haven't tried yet, and I'm excited to see this, is see if we can use gfish to get the value, and we can kind of see it being updated by all these child processes. And we're going to see it output the expected value. Now, the expected value is the number of number of times we're incrementing things, which is 1,000 per process. So we're hoping to see the value be 5,000 because 5 child processes each trying to increment 1,000 times. Now that we have our cluster running, we're guaranteeing that each one of these individual actions down here, the actual operations that are supposed to happen in the transaction, are happening with the full view of what has happened in the past. And that's what allows us to give a fully ACID transaction. They're atomic, consistent, isolated, and durable. So we have the cluster running, and the last thing we got to do is I'm going to connect gfish. All right, that is going to connect to localhost and the locator that we're running down here on the machine. Now, as that connects, let's kind of tee things up here. So Gradle, and all right, so let's just get ready to run that, and we'll get a region is example region. And here we'll look at the key is counter. Cool. So let's run this. If I can point to the correct spot, let's run this. All right, so everything started, waiting on 1. Let's see if we can get the counter. Okay, it's 29 right now. Oh, okay, it's still going. Cool. Still just reading, getting that value. Okay, so the first 2, that's pretty cool. So waiting on 1, and then 1 was done, waiting on 2, waiting on 3, 4, 5. That's pretty cool. And we got the value that we expected. So that's transactions in a nutshell on how to do it in Geode. If you go back here, there's a really awesome blog post by Mike Stoltz. He's another one of the Apache Geode committers, talking about the differences between the consistency value in ACID versus the C in CAP theorem, how they're different, some of the trade-offs. But again, Apache Geode is a CP system, believes in strong consistency at its core, and because of that, we can do ACID transactions, and that is what you just saw here. So I hope that was a nice quick video on covering transactions, and I'll talk to you next week.